Mystical Love by S.A. Reinhardt. This book has been copyrighted 2023 S.A. Reinhardt, all rights reserved. No portion of this book may be reproduced in any form without permission from the publisher, except as permitted by U.S. copyright law. For permissions, contact author.sa.reinhardt@gmail.com. Dedication. To my husband, for all my magical endeavors, your love and support mean the world to me. You are my Richard. Author's note. This book was born out of a dream. Once the writing started, it didn't stop. There is romance, energy work, suspense, and music. Lots of music. First, a note about the energy work. There's a character named Douglas that teaches the main characters about chakras and crystal healing. Aside from the elaboration of sex being a conduit for telepathic abilities, most of the basic energy work information is what I have taught my students in real life. If you have any questions about how energy work can be a part of your life, feel free to contact me at author.sa.reinhardt@gmail.com. Now about the music. If you would like to hear the music that is mentioned in this book, there is a playlist for you on Spotify. Check out the link https://bit.ly/mystical love playlist. Chapter 1. Friends. Sabrina considered herself an ordinary woman in her mid-30s. She liked her job as a therapist because she had a passion to help others. However, somewhere buried inside, she knew she wanted more. She grew up with her younger twin brothers in the mountains of Wyoming with their parents, Jim and Carolyn, who were very old-fashioned. When Sabrina was in middle school, she used to write stories for her friends. She wanted to be a writer when she grew up. Her father told her, "Don't waste your time doing something that won't pay your bills. I would hate to see you struggling with money issues. You should get a real job." By the time Sabrina was a junior in high school, she became fascinated with the human mind. Why do people worry? Why do couples fight? She thought she could find these answers through psychology. That's when she decided to go to college to become a therapist. After college, she started working as an intern for one of the best therapists in Nevada. Dr. Harris Nolan took her under his wing, and in 2 years, she launched her own practice. Just like Sabrina's dad said, getting a real job paid the bills. As successful as she was, though, Sabrina wasn't as happy as she expected. Maybe she was lonely. She dated here and there, but she was always so busy with her practice that building a relationship with a man didn't seem like something practical. Most of the men that wanted to get more serious with her were quickly ignored because she just didn't have time. She would rather hang out with her best friend Pam on the weekends and go to rock concerts. Pam was the complete opposite of Sabrina. She was spunky, wild, and adventurous. She had long black hair and pale skin, a nose piercing, and tattoos. Sabrina, on the other hand, was practical and reserved. When the two of them got together, Sabrina kept Pam out of trouble, and Pam got Sabrina to come out of her shell a bit. One night, they were having dinner and drinks, and Pam spotted a handsome guy in the corner of the restaurant. "Oh, that guy is totally checking you out," Pam whispered. Sabrina casually looked around and saw that handsome man in the corner, just as Pam said. She looked back and said, "He's cute, but I just don't have time." "Oh, bullshit," Pam said. "You don't make time because you're scared." Sabrina was slightly offended by Pam's comment. "What do you mean? What do you think I'm scared of? Keeping my business running? Serving my clients? You know, I can't be all adventurous like you." Pam looked Sabrina straight in the eye with a serious look on her face. "What good is life if you work it away. Sabrina thought for a moment and replied, I hang out with you, so I have a life. Girl, you don't have to spend all your free time with me. Pam nudged Sabrina in the arm. Now go over there and flirt with that guy. Maybe Pam is right, Sabrina thought. She was afraid that starting a new relationship would only end up in disaster. Nobody could ever love her the way she wanted to be loved. As she was contemplating this, she heard a deep voice say, Excuse me, I couldn't help but notice you from across the room. My name is Dean. Pam snickered. Really, Dean? That's the best you got? I apologize for my friend, Sabrina said. I appreciate you not trying to get too creative with the pickup line. Have a seat. Dean sat down. They started a conversation that seemed very much like a job interview. He was about 6 feet tall, with short, light brown hair, a medium build, and a great smile. He was nerd charming and seemed like a sincere guy. Sabrina ended up giving him her phone number. Then he left the ladies to enjoy the rest of their night. The next day, Dean called Sabrina and asked if she would be available on Friday to see a local band. Sabrina told him to meet her at the club where the band was playing. She wasn't going to give some guy she just met her address. That would be dangerous. She imagined how Pam would be saying to her, What's the big deal? If he gets wacko, you can just call the cops. Sabrina wanted to avoid that kind of confrontation in her life. Friday night came around, and Sabrina put on a black dress with some ballerina flats. That's about as fancy as she got. She despised heels. If it was up to her, everyone would walk around barefooted. When she arrived at the club, Dean was waiting for her at the front. You look beautiful, he said to Sabrina. Thank you. You look pretty smashing yourself, she said, taking his hand. They entered the club together. It was loud, but not too crowded as they ordered their drinks. Dean started the conversation. So you're a therapist, huh? How do you like it? Oh, it's all right. It pays the bills. Sabrina was almost shocked by the answer coming out of her mouth. It's all right? Pays the bills? It was wonderful to have a thriving practice, helping people every day and being fascinated by the human psyche. Being honest with herself, there was something missing. Sabrina, could you hear me over this noise? Dean broke Sabrina out of her inner reflection. Oh, no. What did you say? Dean came closer to her ear. I said, you must meet pretty interesting people, right? Sabrina noticed that Dean smelled like Old Spice. It reminded her of her dad. She didn't want to talk about her work, but she didn't want to be rude. She smiled at Dean. Yes, I meet interesting people. What do you do? Dean was glad to see the conversation was progressing. Truth be told, he was a little nervous about the whole date. He hadn't been on a date in several months because of a bad breakup. I'm a bartender. I work at the bar around the corner from here. Maybe you'd like to come visit me sometime. With a little chuckle, Sabrina answered, That would be fun, but I wouldn't want you to visit me at my job. It's way more boring than yours. Again, she was poking fun at her job. Why? It wasn't boring. There was a new challenge every day. There were different people and different issues to work through. If she was analyzing herself, she would say that she was sabotaging this date. Was Sabrina just not into dating? Or was she destined to be alone forever? Dean and Sabrina continued to make light conversation. Then the band came out to the club's stage. The room got dark, and Dean whispered in Sabrina's ear, I love this band. They are great. When the stage lights came on, the singer was highlighted. He had shoulder-length auburn hair, and he was wearing a black leather jacket and no shirt. He sang, Wink, wink, blink my eyes. Wake up now or you're gonna die. On that cue, the band started playing as the rest of the stage lit up. Sabrina wasn't too impressed with the lyrics, but she liked the crunchy sound of the guitar and the beat. There was a defined metal sound to it. Dean was dancing with his drink up in the air, looking at Sabrina from the corner of his eye to see if she was enjoying it too. She was. During the first guitar solo, Sabrina's heart perked up. It was like the sound was filling her body, and the only thing she could hear in the entire room was the guitar. She closed her eyes and temporarily lost herself in the sound of it. The whole world disappeared in that moment. Dean, the club, the crowd cheering, everything. She fell in love with that sound. Sabrina looked up at the stage to see who was playing the solo. It was a man with black spiky hair, blue eyes, and dark, thick guy liner. Oh, the rockstar stereotypes, Sabrina thought, amused. Just as she thought that, the guitar guy looked back at her. She looked away. How embarrassing. Was I staring at him? She wondered. Whatever. As the band played a few more songs, Sabrina and Dean danced together. She was having a good time. With every song that had a guitar solo, she took a peek up at the stage. Sabrina had a suspicious feeling that the guitarist was looking back at her. She ignored that feeling. How could he even see me, she thought. The stage lights are so bright, he probably can't see any of the crowd. After the band played their set, Dean asked Sabrina if she wanted to go to a quieter place so they could talk. Would you like to go for a late-night coffee? Oh, no thanks. I've had a long day, and I'd love to go get some sleep right now. Can I take a rain check? Sabrina politely asked. Sure, Dean said. They walked out of the club together. Sabrina said, That band was really good. Thank you for inviting me, Dean. I'm so glad you liked them too, Dean said with a sigh of relief. Now I know we like the same kind of music. What else do you like? Well, Sabrina said apprehensively, I like to paint. Really? I would love to see some of your paintings. Sabrina hesitated. She never showed her paintings to anyone but Pam. It made her feel judged, as if she was wasting her time being creative. Maybe someday, she said. Sabrina and Dean parted ways with a hug because she didn't believe a kiss was the right thing to do on the first date. As she drove home, she heard those guitar solos in her head all the way. The next morning, Sabrina awoke with the sunlight. She had an overwhelming urge to start journaling. She hadn't journaled since she was in high school. Maybe she felt the need to put better lyrics to the songs she heard the night before. Or maybe she wanted to get the image of the guitar guy out of her head. Instead of grabbing a pen and paper, though, she opted to go with her usual morning routine of making herself a fresh steeped cup of tea and practicing qigong. She loved moving meditation because you could still get the wiggles out and meditate at the same time. It's like a 2-for-1 special, her mom would say. Once her practice was done, she took a shower and got ready for the day. She needed to make a grocery trip and do some laundry. Her life as a therapist was very routine. Monday through Friday, go to work. Saturday and Sunday, do chores and run errands. Little did she know that date with Dean would change her routine forever. Ring, 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 ring. Sabrina's cell phone chimed. It had one of the most annoying ringtones, but she liked it. As her friend Pam would say, What are we living in the 1980s? Ha ha. Hello? Hey girl, I'm checking in, Pam said on the other line. Are you in one piece? What are you talking about? The date. Was he a gentleman, or did he talk you out of your virtue? Pam giggled. Oh, geez, Pam, you know I'm not that kind of a girl, Sabrina snorted. The date went well, and I had a lot of fun after the music started. You know, Dean was a little awkward with the small talk. So did you kiss him? Pam asked with anticipation. No, I gave him a hug, though, and I think he's going to call me for a second date. Oh, well, that sounds perfect and proper and boring. Pam put an emphasis on the word boring as if she was a 12-year-old girl. Then she laughed. "Tell me about the music. Did the band rock?" "OMG, Pam, that was the best part," Sabrina said excitedly. "You would love this band. They're called Illumination or something like that. The lyrics could use some work, but you know how picky I am about words. The best part, though, was the guitar solos. It's almost as if I was taken to a different planet." Sabrina felt herself gushing like a schoolgirl. Ew, she thought. I'm a grown woman. "Girl, let's go see them together. Are they playing tonight?" Pam asked. "I'm not sure." Sabrina went to her laptop and Googled Illumination Band in Las Vegas. Sure enough, Illumination popped up on her screen, playing Fridays and Saturdays at the Hard Rock Club. "Ooh, they're playing tonight," Sabrina said with a little too much excitement in her voice. "Cool, we're going. Do you want to pick me up?" "Sure. Let's eat first, though. I don't think they have my kind of food there," Sabrina said. "Oh, cool. Does greens and protein sound good?" Pam asked. "Sounds awesome. They start at 8 p.m., so I'll pick you up around 6. Cool?" "I'll be waiting for you, chickie. Have fun doing laundry and groceries." Pam knew Sabrina well. In fact, Sabrina had such a solid routine, Pam knew exactly what she was doing on any given day, at any given time. It was the structure that Pam loved about her friend, but she wanted to shake it up. However, Pam wasn't the one to shake up Sabrina's routine. It was Sabrina's soul. After getting most of the groceries and laundry done, Sabrina got ready to go out. She looked in her closet and found a few dresses next to her usual slacks and blouses. It was pretty casual with Pam, so Sabrina decided to go with jeans and a barely ever been used red blouse with rhinestones on it. The style was boho, and she didn't have many places she would wear it. Pam would freak out if she saw me in this, Sabrina thought. I can't wait to see her face when she sees me in it. She put it on, grabbed her purse and keys, and went to pick up Pam. When Pam got into the car, the look on her face was priceless. Sabrina almost wished she had a hidden camera in that old Volkswagen Beetle. "WTF, girl!" Pam exclaimed. "You look hot." Sabrina laughed so hard, tears were streaming down her face. "I knew you'd get a kick out of this." "When did you buy that shirt?" Pam asked. "Years ago when I had that subscription to Stitch Fix," Sabrina explained. "I was experimenting with different things when I was building my work wardrobe, and I kept the shirt because I liked it. I just never wore it because I couldn't find an excuse. I wore it tonight just for you." "Are you sure your date didn't go to a different level? Because you're acting like you felt some chemistry," Pam teased. Sabrina felt chemistry all right, but it didn't have anything to do with Dean. It was the sound of that guitar. She couldn't wait to hear it again tonight and to share that experience with her best friend. They went to Greens and Proteins and ordered the usual: a mixed green salad with grilled chicken for Sabrina and a protein smoothie and small flatbread pizza for Pam. After that, they headed over to the bar where they ordered a few drinks just before the band came out. There was a tall, dark-skinned man in the corner that was looking in Pam's direction. Sabrina whispered, "Don't look now, but I think that guy is looking at you." Pam casually turned to see who she was talking about. "Oh, well, hello, tall, dark, and handsome," she said. The lady started giggling. The room got dark as the band took the stage. Sabrina felt excitement bubbling up as she squeezed her friend's arm. "Wow," Pam said. "They really must be good if you're that excited. You're acting like we haven't been to a ton of shows." Pam was right. Sabrina was acting strange. She had seen many concerts over the years. It shouldn't be a big deal. Sabrina and Pam shared the same love for music. Pam used to play the piano, but quit to focus on being a tattoo artist. And Sabrina played the violin. She loved it, but got too busy with the responsibilities of life to continue her practice. Sabrina and Pam first met at a concert in San Diego where they hit it off right away. Sabrina made a special trip to see Metallica, and Pam lived there at the time. They kept in touch, and when Pam was offered a job in Las Vegas, she stayed with Sabrina until she could find a place of her own. They often joked that if they didn't have to pay bills, they would play together in bars across the country. When the singer was highlighted on stage, he started singing. Pam looked at Sabrina with a look on her face that said, "Really? Wow, not very original lyrics." "Just wait, it gets better," Sabrina promised. The band continued playing the song. Pam was warming up to the music. It had a good beat and the crunchy guitar sound that she and Sabrina were both drawn to. "Okay, now I can see why you like them," Pam shouted to Sabrina through the loud sounds echoing through the club. As the band continued with each song, Pam noticed Sabrina's body language. For the first time since Pam had known her, she saw her friend completely let go. As Sabrina swayed and danced during the guitar solos, Pam looked up at the guitarist and noticed he was looking at Sabrina. "Dude!" Pam smacked Sabrina on the shoulder. "He's looking at you!" Sabrina was annoyed that her friend had broken the groove she was in. "What are you talking about? He can't see any of us. The lights are shining on him too bright." "No way," Pam promised. "I swear I saw him. Maybe he's doing some weird voodoo on you or something." "Pam, do you know how ridiculous that sounds? Are you hearing the music? They are awesome." Sabrina wasn't sure why Pam wasn't totally in love with the sound coming from the band, specifically the guitar. It was like magic to her ears. Maybe there is something to the guitar voodoo, she thought. No, Pam just doesn't like them as much as I do. When the concert was over, Mr. Tall, Dark, and Handsome came over to the bar to offer Pam and Sabrina a drink. Pam gladly accepted, but Sabrina had to drive, so she declined. The man sounded like he was from the UK. He was well over 6 feet tall, with a shaved head and a black goatee. "My name is Brian." He extended his hand out. Pam grabbed it and shook it. "I'm Pam, and this is Sabrina." "Nice to meet you, Brian." Sabrina shook Brian's hand. "Lovely to meet you, ladies. Do you come here to this club often?" Brian asked. "No, but this is my friend's second time here. What about you?" Pam asked. "I come on Saturday nights sometimes. I like the vibe here, and the music is great," Brian replied cheerily. Sabrina asked Brian, "What do you think of the guitar solos?" On the far end of the bar, a man with a German accent asked the bartender, "Hey, John, can I get a bottle of water?" His attention was caught by the conversation that Brian, Pam, and Sabrina were having, so he lingered to eavesdrop. "Oh, the guitar solos are great. That guy's really talented," Brian exclaimed. "That is why Sabrina is here again tonight. She can't get enough of the guitarist," Pam teased. "I think they're okay. Nothing to make me come here for a second night in a row." Sabrina felt embarrassed, but laughed it off. Brian and Pam seemed to have a spark between them. Sabrina turned to the bartender. "Excuse me, could I get a bottle of water, please?" "Sure thing, hun," the bartender replied. Sabrina's gaze moved to the man at the end of the bar. He seemed to be looking at her. She recognized the black spiky hair and blue eyes with black eye makeup. He walked a little closer to her and asked, "I couldn't help but overhear your conversation with your friends. Did you really like the way I played guitar?" Sabrina realized that this was the guitar guy, and she felt embarrassment wash over her. She wanted to crawl under a rock and die. "For God's sake, why is this happening to me?" she thought. With as much poise as she could muster, she answered, "Yes, you're really talented." "Kill me now," she thought. "Thank you. It's nice to know my work is appreciated," the man said. "I'm Richard. Lovely to meet you, Miss..." The way he said his name was like chocolate and velvet wrapped into a delicious package. Sabrina temporarily forgot her name. Sabrina. Nice to meet you." She reached out to shake his hand and noticed a buzzing when he touched her. Richard smiled at Sabrina. Her heartbeat went erratic. "What the heck is wrong with you?" she thought to herself. "Stop acting like a little fangirl." "I saw you from the stage. The way you were dancing was hypnotic," Richard admitted. Did he have any idea it was the other way around? Maybe he was doing voodoo on Sabrina like Pam said. Oh crap, I'm his next victim, she joked to herself. Just then, a voice from the back of the stage called, Hey Richard, let's go, man. It's time to get some grub. Well, I have to go, but maybe I'll see you again. Richard winked at Sabrina. See you around, Sabrina called as Richard left. Pam and Brian approached Sabrina. OMG, was that the guitarist? Pam squealed. Yep, his name's Richard. Cool dude, Sabrina said nonchalantly. That's cool you got to meet a musician and an up-and-coming superstar, Brian said. Pam gave Sabrina a look that said, As soon as we get in the car, you're giving me details. Hey, Brian, give me a call later, Pam instructed. I gotta get my girl into bed before she turns into a pumpkin. Pam and Sabrina left the club. On the way to Pam's house, Pam was telling Sabrina how she and Brian really hit it off. She also wanted to know about the conversation Sabrina, the fangirl, had with her new hero. Oh, stop it, Pam. I'm not a fangirl. I really like the way Richard plays the guitar. I was embarrassed he overheard me say that, but he seemed to enjoy the compliment. Then his buddies called him away and he said, Maybe I'll see you again, and that was it. No big deal. Sabrina left out the part where she felt a buzzing when he touched her. Oh, and get this. He did notice me dancing in the crowd. I told you, Pam exclaimed. I knew he was looking at you. And you want to hear something trippy, Pam? I felt like he was looking at me yesterday night, too, Sabrina confessed. On your date with Dean? So are you going out with Dean again? Or are you just going to see what happens with the guitar guy? Pam asked. Richard, Sabrina corrected. His name is Richard. Let's please not call him guitar guy. You know how I feel about using someone's name if they've got one. Okay, so don't avoid the question. What are you going to do? Pam pressed. I'm just going to do life, keep working, focus on my practice, and let the dating fall where it may, Sabrina said, trying to convince herself more than Pam. She did want to see how a second date would go with Dean. It seemed silly to think Richard would be good for her. What would a therapist and a rock star have in common anyways, she thought. I just like the way he plays guitar. She decided to let it go. After Sabrina dropped Pam off, she had a quiet drive home. She also had that urge to journal again. She stopped by Walmart and got a notepad to keep her thoughts in. She had to get all of this stuff out of her head for peace of mind. Maybe this journaling experience would help her analyze herself. What Sabrina didn't know was that this was the beginning of a new journey. Sabrina filled 12 pages of the journal that night. When she woke up in the morning, she filled 10 more pages. This caused her to skip her usual morning routine. Her day continued with writing, only stopping to eat something and go to the bathroom. The words kept filling the pages until the phone rang. It was Pam. Hey Pam, what's up? Brian called me, Pam said. We are going out tonight. He's picking me up in just a few hours. Well, sounds like you have a nice lunch date planned, Sabrina mused. What do you mean lunch date? Pam asked. Girl, it's 6 p.m. We're going to dinner. Had the entire day passed already? Sabrina thought, shocked. She had been writing so much she didn't even stop to look at the clock. Looking at the journal, she just noticed that she had filled most of the book. Sabrina, what have you been doing all day that made you lose track of time? Is there something you're not telling me? Pam was curious and concerned. No, I've just been cleaning. Sabrina had to say something. She didn't want to mention she was still in her jammies. That only happens when she's sick. Okay, well, I'll see you this Tuesday. Pam decided to let it go. She knew Sabrina would tell her what was going on eventually. How can anyone lose track of time when cleaning? Pam thought. Besides, Sabrina's house is already so clean. After Sabrina hung up, she took a shower and put on jeans and a t-shirt. Then she vacuumed the house and made herself some tea. Though she had written all day, there were a lot of thoughts that she felt needed to be on paper. For now, she would relax and listen to some music. I wonder if illumination has a download, Sabrina thought. She Googled it and found 3 demo songs. They were awful. The demo songs were from a time when the band first got together. The lyrics were worse than the live performance, and everything seemed out of sync. She opted to put on some Slipknot in her home stereo instead. Just then, Dean called. Hello? Hi, Sabrina, it's Dean. Hi, Dean, Sabrina said with a smile. I was wondering if you wanted to grab a coffee after work tomorrow? We didn't really get a chance to talk. That may not have been the best place to have a first date, especially when you want to get to know someone better, you know? Dean sounded apologetic. Sure, I have clients until 5. What time works for you? Sabrina used a business-like tone. Well, if we make it 7 p.m., can I take you to dinner? Dean sounded hopeful. Sounds good. Sabrina hid the fact that she was ultra picky about her food choices. Why don't I meet you at Oja on Decatur and Blue Diamond? She knew there was something she could eat there. You like sushi? That's cool. Dean likes sushi too. I'll see you there. See you. Sabrina didn't like all sushi. She just liked this one particular roll at Oja and the other cooked stuff. She didn't think Dean needed to know that. The week went on and Sabrina's date with Dean was okay. He was funny, sincere, and kind. However, she didn't feel any electricity. It left her feeling bored. She remembered how Pam talked about her first date with Brian. They seemed to have an instant spark. Sabrina was happy for Pam. Instead of wishing for that spark with Dean, she would rather hang out with her journals. Sabrina spent a lot of time writing. She had filled 2 more notebooks. It was like she was a caged animal that had been asleep for too long. Her dad helped her put it in the cage when she was young in the name of success, and now that she was successful, it was time to reignite the passion. It's time to do something with all this writing, Sabrina thought. I can balance my career and this new hobby. She went online to search for a creative writing class. She could meet new friends while Pam was exploring her relationship with Brian. It would also give me an excuse to not see Dean, she thought. That's not very nice. Sabrina found the perfect class not too far from her office. She could go to class after work and learn how to put her musings into a more constructive format. Maybe I could even self-publish something, like an ebook, she thought. See, Dad, I published a book. I am good enough to do it. Even though her parents worked hard to teach her and her brothers how to make it in the world, she still felt like there was more. She was grateful she was able to take a writing class now. Sabrina's classes were on Wednesday nights, and the course ran for 8 weeks. She got off of work, grabbed something light to eat, and went to class. On the night of the first class, Sabrina walked in and sat down at one of the desks. She felt like she was in college again. The class started filling up, and a man in jeans and a black AC/DC t-shirt sat next to her. She noticed that he smelled like fresh scent body wash. Hey, is your name Sabrina? The man asked. The accent sounded familiar. She turned to look at the man's face and saw familiar blue eyes. Oh, wow, Richard! I didn't recognize you without the stage makeup. What are you doing here? Sabrina noticed how gorgeous he was without the makeup. Despite her melting on the inside, she kept her composure. Richard leaned over as if to tell Sabrina a secret. I'm taking this class to write lyrics. Stan, our singer, could use some help, but he's too stubborn to admit it. So why isn't he in this class? Sabrina giggled. I'm just kidding. I don't want to be mean. That's not mean. That's funny, Richard chuckled. He should be in this class. He thinks artists don't need classes like this. I just like to learn everything I can to get better. Okay, class, the instructor boomed. It's time to take your seats. Let's begin. As the class went on, they were taking notes. Richard kept glancing over at Sabrina. She thought it was her imagination. For homework, the instructor told them they had to pick a partner to read each other's work and give feedback. Sabrina looked around for a woman to have as a writing partner when she heard, "Hey Sabrina, do you want to be study buddies?" Richard asked. Sabrina thought it was cute the way he said study buddies. She looked into his big blue eyes. "Sure," she said with as much cool as a melting ice cream cone. Am I totally crushing on this guy? She thought. She was afraid that if she spent time with him, she would develop an unrealistic infatuation. Would he be upfront that he wasn't interested? She had to keep it platonic to avoid heartbreak. She decided to be friends with him. That was it. Richard and Sabrina exchanged phone numbers and decided to get together on Sunday for the homework. That would give them both enough time to come up with something for feedback. A few days after class, Pam called to check in with Sabrina. She told Pam that she started a creative writing class. She also informed Pam that she wasn't going to go out with Dean anymore. "Good," Pam said. "That guy was boring." "What? I thought you said he was cute," Sabrina said. "Yeah, but you need someone more exciting to be around. Like me," Pam joked. Even though Pam was hanging out with Brian more often, Sabrina was busy with her writing, so it worked out. "So what do you do in this creative class anyway?" Pam asked. "We have to write something, creative. We have homework and writing partners. I'm meeting with my partner on Sunday." "And who is your writing partner?" Pam asked sincerely. "Funny story, actually," Sabrina said. "I took my seat in class and I saw this guy out of the corner of my eye sitting next to me. I didn't think anything of it, but then I heard him call me by name." "Who was it?" "Richard, the guitarist from the club that I met the night you met Brian," Sabrina said. "Oh, wow, guitar guy? What is he doing in creative writing class? Isn't that a nerd thing?" Pam asked, confused. "That's what I thought, but Richard agreed with me about Stan's lyrics. Stan's the singer. And he wanted to learn more so he could get better at his own lyric writing skills," Sabrina explained. Pam paused a minute. "So you are writing lyrics with a rock star? That's so cool!" "No, Pam," Sabrina said like a mother explaining something to her child. "Did you not hear what I just said? We are in class together. We have our own homework." Pam cut Sabrina off. "Dude, that is so awesome. I want to see some of the stuff you guys write together. Oh, it's probably too soon." "Eek!" She took a breath. "I'm so happy for you. You're finally doing something fun for yourself instead of doing what you have to do. Are you happy?" Sabrina thought for a minute. Besides the experience of trying to keep cool around this brilliant guitarist, for the most part, she was happy. She really enjoyed writing, and it gave her a way to connect with herself. "Yes, I am happy." And it was about to get even better.